imagine losing your entire year's of salary in one night. She has just saved up $5,000 to bring that money back home to China to repay their relatives for helping them get over here. And that night, my parents got robbed. And she said the only thing that kept her going was that she was on a wait list for affordable housing. And that gave her hope.
All right, welcome to this episode of the Purpose-Driven Investment Podcast. I'm so honored to have my best friend here with me, Kent Faihe. How are you today?
I am fantastic. I'm so excited to be here, Sheenie. I'm so excited.
I'm
We'll
so
be talking about something
excited.
fun.
Me too. I'm so excited that you decided to come. And it's funny that our first encounter was me and you, the introvert, we're maxed out in a networking event. You're at the corner. I just kind of hover over you. Hey, let's chat. Because I'm also maxed out. That's how we first know each other. I'm so excited you're coming here today because I know you are currently rated the highest, most popular podcast on YouTube talk about affordable housing. I'm very interested to learn how you become where you are today, especially how to run a successful podcast. So tell us more about you, Ken.
Shinya, I would start by just sharing a little bit of story with your audience because I think when people think about like, hey, why do I want to start a podcast? I think that why is really important. And my story is my parents came from China with $1,000 in their pocket, and my mom lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with 9 people. And she tells me this story all the time because at that point in time, she was making $3 an hour, and she has just saved up $5,000 to bring that money back home to China to repay their relatives for helping them get over here. And that night, my parents got robbed. And I don't know if you can imagine losing your entire year's of salary in one night, but that's what happened to my parents. And my parents always say, bad things, horrific things happen to good people, but it's about how you bounce back that matters. And she said the only thing that kept her going was that she was on a wait list for affordable housing. And that gave her hope. And she waited like 3.5 years for that rental. But when she got that home, she was so relieved because she didn't have to worry about someone breaking into our home again and taking everything that she had saved up for like 2 years. So that's why I'm on a mission now to create the largest affordable housing investment community in the United States. And I hope you and your listeners will join me on that mission because every single person I put into one of these homes is helping someone like my mom. And I can't imagine what life would have been if no one ever helped my mom. And the most rewarding thing about the podcast now is I get to tell my mom that, hey, we're now the #1 podcast on affordable housing investments, when you ask ChatGPT at least, because of your struggle. And I can tell my mom like, hey, I know that night must have been so dark for you and dad and so heartbreaking, but that night is the reason why I am the person that I am today. And that night is the reason why so many people, thousands, if not millions of people get a home because of that struggle. And I think that has been the most rewarding part about starting the podcast.
Wow, what an inspiring story because they're so close to you and you've seen them kind of struggle through and they got that chance, that call, say, hey, you finally get off the wait list. You're eligible to move into this housing that I imagine is better neighborhood, better street code, better, just overall better. How old were you back then when they moved into the house?
I was probably just 2 years old when we moved, I think.
Wow.
And we moved into the 13th floor of an apartment building. So there was no one that was going to climb 13 floors to try to rob us anymore. So
I imagine
uh,
best view. Was it in New York?
no, it was in Boston, like right near the Chinatown area. But it was great and convenient because my elementary school is right across the street so that I can bring myself to school after like 3rd grade. And it just made everything so stable so that I can grow up. And
Right.
when you get used to such a small apartment, it's just like anything else is just a cherry on top afterwards.
Mhm.
So I share that story with you, Shani, because I know you're starting your podcast right now. And I understand how hard it was. And I'll share a little bit more story with you because when I started my podcast, I called it How to Quit Your 9 to 5. And I started listening to myself talk about affordable housing. And I realized how passionate I was about
I know
affordable
you
housing. And that's when I flipped it.
when you speak it. Yeah.
Right. So I love that you named your podcast Purpose-Driven Investment Podcast. But why don't you share with me, like, how did you come up with that name? Like, did you think about it right away, or did you
You have no idea. I appreciate that question so much because I think I'm a pretty good stage right now in my career, my life. Everything is really good. But I just enjoy working with underserved population. I used to with my church, go to, third world countries, serve those orphanage. And that really humbles you because when you realize that to overcome that kind of adversity, that you could possibly you couldn't possibly imagine. And you kind of just humble myself, right? And then look at what we have. It made me really grateful about what the resource was given to me. So I always feel like, I have a great joy helping those people, and I wanted to become very successful entrepreneur so I can donate some of those profit back. And I'm specific, very interesting certain project that has some sort of spin on the purpose-driven investment, like investment with a purpose, with this thing of like helping other people, give them a chance or provide them different opportunity. And that's what bring me joy. And that's what type of investor I wanted to interview. Which is why I'm so excited for this episode today, because I think we sync up so well because you understood that. That's why your podcast is so popular and in this particular space. That's your audience. They were drawn to you because they believe in this mission.
Ooh, this is so good. So no, I got more questions for you now because how long did you think it took you to come up with this title? Did it take you like a week, like 2 months? Because I bet there's so many people right now that are trying to relate to you, Shani,
Right.
about like starting a podcast because they all feel that struggle. They're all just like, what do I do?
I know. Why would I
How
want
long
to
did it
talk
take
about
you?
this? It was a whole year of struggle because I don't want to put my face out there. I really don't because I'm a
Yeah.
very cagey person. I don't like to talk about what I do publicly. I have probably less than 900 people on Facebook friends because they were really my friend. Talking about starting a YouTube channel or Instagram, just kind of throw your things out there is like never in a millionaire I would wanted to do that. But then I realized that I have some skill that I can contribute. It's almost kind of selfish of me not to put myself out there to serve more people because of my fear. If I decide not to do this, then there's nobody know about me. Then I will then lose a lot of opportunity. Then in the same time, losing those opportunities, I could be able to generate to help other people. So I kind of just decide, I'm gonna start something to start talk about the project I'm passionate about or talk about some investor I'm very admire and because they're doing great thing. I want to be able to highlight them. I want to be able to create opportunity for other people or even just provide educational piece to other people who think about to do this but don't know where to start. So I start with this podcast knowing like, what, I will probably start something like I'm going to learn along the way. I know I want a name in the podcast with a purpose in it. And I just like, I need to have a purpose in it. So I just, I'm just going to call it purpose-driven investment podcast. It came on just one day. I know I want to have purpose in it,
Yeah.
but the name
I
just came on.
love
I'm just going to
that.
start with this and see where it goes.
See, this is so good because then now when people are looking up ChatGPT, hey, what's the best podcast on purpose-driven investments? Boom, Xingyi's podcast is gonna come up. Right. And I think that's so good. And I think your story is such a great lesson in of itself because now for folks that are listening that are thinking about starting their own podcast, you don't have to over engineer it. You don't have to come up with a fancy name and then try to explain the
Don't
fancy
overthink.
name and what
Just
it means.
right.
Right?
Yeah.
So
Don't
I
overthink.
called my podcast Affordable Housing and Real Estate Investing, the most long name you can possibly get, but it
But
works
straight
because
to
when
the
people,
point.
yes, I ask people all the time how they found me. And most of the time people say, hey, I just wanted a podcast and I just looked up affordable housing and you came up. So
Yeah.
make it easy for people to discover you. Make it
Right.
easy for someone to get the information. Make it easy so that they don't have to understand the undertones of what fancy word or acronym that you want to come up with, because
Right.
that will prevent you pausing, not taking action versus just taking action, bring value out there.
Right.
And I loved your story about not wanting to put yourself out there, Shinyi, because I had the same fear. And the only thing that really helped me get out of that was realizing that no one cares about you. No one cares. And in the beginning, no one's listening. No one's listening. I'll be honest with you. I tell people all the time. First month, I had 17 views. And I'm pretty
That's
sure
pretty
it
good.
was
They got
just
all
my
your friends
mom.
and
I'm
family.
pretty sure it was just my mom that was clicking on it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad that we didn't quit because now, I mean, probably 3 years later, we're well over 300,000 downloads now. But more importantly, the people that have been listening are the right people that are listening. They want to make an impact with the energy, their heart. So let's say you really want to help people. Maybe you like to help seniors aging in place. Maybe you want to help people with sober living and transitioning out of substance abuse. You can create a podcast just on that. Sober living podcast, senior living podcast. Who cares? Pick your niche and just go for it. Because guess what? Your whole point of your podcast is just to want to bring people on to thank them for what they're doing because they're helping helping people because I don't believe people that are helping people are getting thanked enough. And secondarily, you're asking questions on behalf of your audience. You have no need to try to prove yourself to somebody to say, oh, I'm this. You want to pout like I'm the best, blah, blah, blah for blah, blah, blah in this industry. That's not the point. The point is for you to help. And when you realize that that is the point and you truly do care and you care more about the person that's listening right now that's about to start a podcast, that's when your message gets across.
Right. That's such a great point. It's just trying to help to get the words out there and try to promote the right people, or even just try to understand why they do what they do to see if they're the person that you want to align with or even partner with to create more great opportunity to other people who wouldn't be able to get their voice out there. I think that's why I started doing this. And then I think that's why you continue to do this. And it's been what, 3 years for you now?
Yeah, 3 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's all awesome. So, how did you start improving? How did you learn along the way? Anything related to the podcast? What would you say what you would wish you would know?
I'll share with you my original actions that I took. When I started a podcast, I was literally begging people to subscribe and to follow. Because guess what? Hey, when you ask yourself, how do you get followers? How do you get subscribers? You might be thinking, how do I really do that? Well, I go into other Facebook communities. Whenever I see any Facebook community member join that Facebook community that I believe I'm aligned to in terms of values and mission, I comment on them. I say, hey, welcome. Then I message them. It's like, hey, I really like your story. This is what I focus on my YouTube channel. Will you please give me a subscribe? And most of the time when people join a Facebook group, they are probably more inclined to help. They're more eager to help. So that's probably the best time for you to get a new subscriber. Literally the best time because they're so eager. They want to get involved. So if you want to grow your podcast from nothing, guess what? You have to ask. You have to ask for subscribers and you have to ask for guests. Don't even tell them to like. No one cares about likes anymore.
Just subscribe. Hit the
You tell them
button,
like and subscribe. Yeah. Just say subscribe. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please follow me on Instagram. And that's what I did. That's how I got my first 1,000 subscribers. I'll be honest with you. And for all my guests that came on, I went out to multiple meetups in person and online. And I just tried to find out who was in affordable housing. Doesn't matter who they were, what level they were. And I begged them to come on. One of my first guests was just my partner. My second guest was a woman in Tennessee, and her dad was an investor in affordable. So I still brought her on because she still had a great story to share from the people that she observed her parents making. And I had another guest that just grew up in affordable housing. Who cares? No one's listening. Get them on and be so grateful for them coming on. I don't think people emphasize this enough. People need to feel your gratitude for bringing them on. And guess what? At some point in time, they're going to refer you to other people that are also doing a thing. And before you knew it, I had people on the podcast that were developing thousands of units, 20,000 units. So I wanted to become a developer. So I wanted to bring on people that were developers to come on a podcast. See, this is the thing. Everyone says, hey, I want to meet so-and-so. That's a wrong question to ask. The right question to ask is, why would they want to meet Kent? Why would they want to meet Shinyi? Why would they? Why would they want to meet you? And if you have a podcast,
Right, you have a
then at least that gives you the confidence to go answer that question. Like, they want to meet me because I really want to bring them on, just share them with my audience and thank them. And this was one of the best lines I ever used to invite guests on the podcast. It is, after you kind of talk them up, talking about, it's like, hey, I think it would serve so many people if you were to come onto the podcast, because after I just loved on you so much and I heard about your story and I just was so impressed, I really think it would serve so many people if you were to come onto the podcast. Try that line out.
And it would be really almost impossible to say no to that. Right?
Start with the end in mind.
I know.
Start with the end in mind.
Yeah, I think that's another reason I decided to start a podcast. I feel like, especially in the beginning stage while nobody's watching, you know what? This would be the best time to practice to hone your skill. It's like the perfect training ground. When you start interviewing people, you get better at interviewing people.
Yes.
And I'm still doing this like multiple take. Hopefully in the next 6 months, I can do like one take. Just without.
Why do you do multiple takes? Don't do multiple takes. And this is so good because you and I are on the same page. We're so conscious about ourselves.
I know.
But
so it's worst critic to ourselves, basically.
we are. We're full of negative self-talk. And what I kept all my old episodes online doing everything wrong, meaning I didn't have trailers to kind of hint and because you think about it, right?
Yeah, there's
how do you get people to watch movies?
Extra.
How do you get people to do movies or watch movies? You got to give them like a minute and a half trailer to make them want to watch the rest of it, right? I never did that. And these are the skills that you learn over time to figure out. So there's a couple things I would absolutely do. I would always make sure going forward that my YouTube title for my podcast is in congruency with the first 30 seconds of my trailer, podcast, whatever you want to call it. And same thing for my thumbnail. My thumbnail in the first 30 seconds, that person needs to confirm whatever content is, whatever's being spoken. Like, let's say it's a step-by-step guide on how to become a developer. Well, in the first 30 seconds, you either say that title again, because you need to confirm with the audience, because this is my fatal flaw in the beginning. I thought, oh, that was such a good podcast. But guess what? Not enough people watched that podcast because I didn't do my job of showing them that what they're going to get in the first 30 seconds. So I would say you should have an outsized effort on the first 30 seconds of your podcast video every single time. And you should spend an outsized effort on your YouTube video title. You should spend an outsized effort on your thumbnail, because it doesn't matter how good your content is if no one watches it, if no one will ever watch it, if they never click into it.
Right. And then I think that's why a lot of people started using the short to promote, because people, the attention span is so short. It's like short. You have to tell them what you're about to tell them, and then talk to them, and then summarize what you just told them.
Yes.
Pretty much.
It
That sounds
seems
right.
so straightforward, doesn't it?
It's just like, because you have the first, like you said, like maybe 10 to 30 seconds, just kind of prep them out. Hey, I'm about to tell you this, and it's a little hook. And they would get hooked in, because it got to be interesting. Otherwise, people would click on to the next one. Like, why do I want to spend the next 30 minutes to listen to this, where I don't even know if there's a candy that's there, like lure you in, or whatever you call, like hooking a fish that hooked them in. I have to have a hook.
Oh,
And it
okay.
sounds interesting. Yeah.
Let's talk more tactical stuff, because I love this stuff, because I wish someone would have gave me this stuff. And I share this advice because the intention of this advice right now is for my daughter, my kids, so that when they grow up, let's say they want to start a podcast, they know exactly what to do. And there are a couple of things that I've learned from even people like Joe Rogan, very successful video podcast. But if you watch Joe Rogan, he's a very easy laugher. He laughs a lot in the beginning. And I think I watched his podcast with Mark Zuckerberg, and you could see when Joe was laughing that lightened up the entire mood, and that allowed Mark to drop his guard down, review more information. And that's when you get really quality conversations as a podcast host, being very easy laugher, but also learning how to ask them and like, hey, what do you mean by that? It's like that curious tone. Like, your tonality is so important as an interviewer. And I love doing the triple head nod, where you do a little tilt, you show the ear to show that you're giving the other person attention, and then you do a triple head nod slowly, not like this, because then you're telling someone to shut up, but triple like
I'm absorbing.
and that's how you get some of the quality.
Eyes.
Yeah.
Interesting.
These are very little things that will separate you from other people that are having very dry conversations, to having the conversations that evoke the most information that's going to be valuable for you, your kids, your family. I mean, your audience. It's so important. It's just these little things that I've learned over time that I wish someone would have shown with me on day one. But I did it. But I was like, I started. So you will never learn this stuff until you get started.
Yeah, you just have to hit record, right? I love how you start. That's just hit record. That is so valuable. Thank you for sharing all that, because I think the tonality, I'm still trying to improve upon that. I've noticed that 10 episode in, I'm more comfortable just getting frazzled. I'm just, all right, if screw up, I'm just gonna continue talking. Wait for a second and continue talking, because that can be edited after that. I just don't get crazy, like overthinking. I like that tonality. I'm definitely going to use that. Just triple knot and just being curious. And then would you say that you become a better listener throughout this whole journey? Right now, in the beginning, I remember my very first podcast, I type out all the talking points, have it on one screen. I need to touch all that. But the second one, I was like, you know what? I don't really need that. It just stressed me out. I just focus on listen to the speaker and just ask them question, right? Did you prep for your podcast? Like, how did you prep for each episode?
So how I used to prepare is no longer applicable, because how you should be asking questions now should be optimizing for GEO, generative engine optimization, or language model optimization. Because going forward, people will either get the information from you, or they're going to get it from ChatGPT. The most powerful combination would be they'll get the answer from ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is referencing your own podcast. So at the minimum, what I do right now is, so tomorrow I'm recording a podcast on how to form a nonprofit. So I just looked up on Gemini, hey, what's the top 10 search questions on how to start a nonprofit? And I will make sure I cover those questions. And I will probably phrase it in such a way that matches exactly what it is because I need the podcast to show up. Our intention is to help people. So if we don't show up, we can't help anybody. So yes, we can wing it, but winging it is going to come at a cost. And the cost is not being able to help somebody. And that's not a cost I really want to live with, especially if I could just prepare a little bit. So there's a good amount of balance now where you should prepare some of your questions based on whatever topic that you're coming up with, based off of what is the most searched questions, because that's literally available to you right now. But during the conversation, you're going to get some stories, you're going to get some topics, concepts, or details that you should ask clarifying questions for. And that curious tone is going to be like, what did you mean by that? It's like little tones like that. But why is that important now, though? You gotta be able to take what the speaker is giving you and thinking on behalf of your audience. What are the questions would my audience have right now after listening to that? It's like, I have no idea what this person meant. Like, what does that mean? And
Right.
that's what you have to do. And that's how you know you're in service to your audience and not just trying to gloat and put the guest up on a pedestal. You're
Right.
asking questions on behalf of your audience. And that's the only reason the audience will ever come back to your other episodes is they have to feel like you were asking great follow-up
Question for
questions.
them. Yeah, you were asking a great question for them. That's so important. Like I've noticed that a lot of more trending podcasts, like they're not exactly just like fancy, a lot of like overproduced. They are just providing value. Simple as that. Like
Mhm.
each episode has some sort of value to provide to the audience, so they will come back and they're asking a commonly asked question or the most interesting topic people want to know about. And so I'm so glad you share that. So you actually went to usually prepare and get the most commonly asked question that then you make sure you touch on those.
Yeah.
Wow, that is
In the beginning, I didn't do that.
awesome.
In the beginning, I did not do that. But
You just
guess
wing it.
what? Guess what? Because you listened to this podcast with Shinyi and you got the value out of it, you're not allowed to go wing it. You're not allowed.
I know.
You're not
I need
allowed.
to be better so I can get
You're
more
not allowed.
eyeball.
But today, there's still room for organic conversations. If it's like a guest I've had on the second time, like I'm just gonna go with it, right? That's a very different type of conversation. You and I, we just went with it because you and I have been talking over so many times, different conversations. Like you and I literally went, I was like, you know what? Let's talk about how to start a podcast because that was what felt natural to us, and this is what makes for the best conversation. This is
Exactly.
fun.
Yeah, this is very fun. I'm so glad we decided to just kind of wing it. Yeah, because I invited you. We're gonna talk about affordable housing, but then you realize, you know what? It is so somewhat related too. Like, in order to become a successful podcaster, get your message out, you do need to know the craft, how to attract and become a successful podcaster, so you can get better guests. I assume you'll have some guests. They will look at you and say, "Well, I gotta go to those podcasts that has certain views or certain subscriber to get onto those." So I'm trying to get to that point.
Yeah, I think the best advice I can give people is don't chase the views, the likes, the little dopamine hits. Some of your wealthiest real estate developers that are worth like billions of dollars, let's say in California, they don't have a social media thing. They don't
That's
care
true.
about it. They don't.
Yeah.
Stop.
They
If you get
just
that one view and that was that person that looked at it, you just struck the jackpot in terms of guest quality because that's the person that you should be bringing onto your podcast and interviewing and sharing that person with the world so that other people can learn from them.
that is so cool. That is so good. Wow, I'm so excited. I just started this year. There's a lot of lessons learned. So thank you for sharing all that with our audience.
Of course, we're just having fun. We're just here to help people. It's just like people, if you're listening to this, just decide who do you want to help and how do you want to help that person.
Right.
And honestly, just start a podcast. Like you really want to help out homeless veterans, call it the Homeless Veteran Podcast. You can bring on people that were used to be homeless veterans. You can bring on people that are housing advocates that can provide services for homeless veterans. You can bring on investors that think about it. Just like that, you have a podcast on homeless veterans.
Mhm.
And you might become the best podcast for homeless veterans in the United States.
Right. I actually have something like that line up actually. And I have another one line up to talk about special housing for special need children as well.
Cool. Love that.
That's interesting. So basically I'm kind of selfish. I want to learn and know more about this. Let's invite them to my podcast so I can ask a question.
Isn't that crazy? That's your competitive advantage, Shinji, is that you have that genuine curiosity.
Right.
And that's your competitive advantage. And that's the reason I think we've been able to go with the affordable housing podcast for so long is because I was genuinely curious. Like,
Passionate.
how are these people building these apartment buildings to help all these families? That's what I want to do.
I know. This is a really good time to dive into that. So that's actually what, struck my interest when we first had that whole conversation. We were maxed out on the networking. And the first time you shared with me that you were a fundraise for a big developer, and he's also very passionate about affordable housing, and that's a special ground out construction specific built for affordable housing. Could you share more on that, and how did that go, and how did it all started?
So what she was referring to was Alvin Hope Johnson. He's a mentor to me. He has taught me so much about affordable housing on a multifamily side, on a ground development. And most importantly, he's been so open to sharing his mistakes with me. And in life, there are so few people that will not quit. And I have always vowed to myself that I will only hang out with people that don't quit, because it takes a certain personality, a certain tenacity. And at the end of the day, I just want to, right, I just want to do life with good people that don't quit, because there's so many people out there that will quit when things get hard. And how I got him onto the podcast was I was looking for guests to come onto the podcast for affordable housing. And obviously the Facebook algorithms just kind of surfaced the right post to me, and I found his name. So I just messaged him. I was like, hey, Alvin, I host a podcast called Affordable Housing. This is 3 months into my podcast. I host a podcast on affordable housing. I want to kind of bring you on to the podcast, like ask you a couple questions, blah, blah, blah. And he said, yes. It was a cold DM. That's it. That's how I got into the world of affordable housing development and
Oh
learning
my
from
God.
him. Like
That's just
cold
to show
DM.
you. Like a lot of time you overthink, oh my God, this person's so famous. They won't respond like to a message. But just don't overthink. Just send him a DM. And he responded right away. He said, yeah, I'd love to.
Oh, I was so nervous when I was sending a DM, Shani. I was like, because your thought is going to be, why on earth would this person
We'll
want to meet me?
Mhm.
I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
But guess what? You didn't overthink. You did it.
If you really want to help people, you got to find the people that are already helping people already and learn from them on how they do it. And your why has to be so powerful that it has to be able to crash through what I call our paper walls, right? When you see a wall, you're just like, oh, I can't go through it. But if you never even try to push against a wall, what if that was just like a piece of wallpaper that was hanging on a thing? Like, it's like you just push it and it falls right away. It's a fake wall. It's a fake wall. It's not a real wall. So if you never try to push against it, don't do it. And I'll even share another line that I love sharing with people is I just ask people like, hey, what's the chances of you wanting to come on the podcast? What's the chances of you wanting to donate to this cause? Hey, what's the chance of you blah, blah, blah? Super no pressure type of ask. If you just take some of these little nuggets and keep them in your pocket, I think it will serve you and your audience so well. And that's why I wanted to share that story with you, is because I think a lot of people overthink about how to get guests on the podcast. And all I did was I went on LinkedIn. I looked up every single person that had the word affordable housing in their title. I followed them for a day. And then the next day I sent them a connection request. And the third day I sent them like, hey, I know you're super busy. This won't take more than 60 seconds of your time, but I saw that you were in affordable housing. I host a podcast, blah, blah, blah. And I think it will serve so many people for you to come onto the podcast. That's it.
Right. And that's such a great line, because anybody who's really truly believing that cause, why would they say no? If it's just more chance to get the word out, advertise, and bringing quality buyer or capital raise. Yeah. So
I have some women that helped New York. I have another woman that helped build 1,000 units in the Northwest. And they're like, hey, a podcast on affordable housing, sign me up. That's how easy it can be. I'm not saying everybody will say yes. Most people will say no. I'll be honest with you. Most people will say no. But if you are truly determined to help the person that you want to help, push through that paper wall.
wow, that is such a great line. So thank you for encouraging me and encourage my audience. So I think this will be perfect time for us to end our podcast today. I need to have you come back again to talk about really like the nitty gritty affordable housing. As you rent one of my unit to a Section 8 tenant. It's like, why did
bring you on a podcast?
why
I'm
don't
gonna bring you on a podcast.
They're-
Let's do it.
I know. Sign me up. She's like the best tenant ever, and she's a single mom with the kids, and they're just great. Like they probably just like you and your parents. They've been on the wait list for a while. They finally got the call. Say, hey, you can now apply. So I'm happy to help them. So
Yeah, we should record one like next weekend. That's what we should do.
we'll set it up. I will reach out to you, and we'll make that happen. All right.
Yeah, let's do it next
Thank
weekend.
you for
That'll be
watching.
good.
Catch you on the next one.
Yes.
Bye.
And Shini, how do people follow you?
Oh, how did they follow me? Yes, they can follow me, like and subscribe on this podcast. And my Instagram is my full name, Xingyi Taoshe, at Xingyi Taoshe. Same with Facebook. They can also message me on Facebook.
See, and now we get the call to action at the end of your podcast. And I'm at Kent Faihe, KentFaihe. DM me anytime. I check all my DMs. I answer all my DMs. But let me know if you have any questions about how to start a podcast. Thank you, Shini. It was so fun.
That was really fun. Thank you for coming up. Catch you on the next one.